In the early 70s, psychiatry sold out completely to the drug companies. The drug companies support our journals, they support our conferences, they support our research, they support individual professors.
Right, let me take a break right here. A good place to take a break.
Ask your doctor about Effexor.
Ask your doctor about Cymbalta.
Talk to your doctor about Zoloft.
Tell your doctor.
Contact your doctor immediately.
Talk with your doctor.
Più di 40 anni fa, le autorità della psichiatria si sono incontrate a Porto Rico per programmare la loro visione del futuro. Creare entro il 2000 una serie di psicofarmaci che fossero in grado di regolare ogni aspetto del comportamento umano.
Yeah, I was diagnosed with depression and put on Paxil.
ADD, and I was prescribed Ritalin.
General anxiety disorder, prescribed Zoloft.
Bipolar disorder, and I take lithium.
PTSD, Zoloft.
I was on Paxil.
Hanno prescritto cure psichiatriche a 543 milioni di persone.
When a patient goes into a psychiatrist's office and asks for help, 98, 99, maybe even 99.9% of people are going to receive a medication.
First he said that I had ADD. Then he said that I was depressed. Then he said I might be bipolar, but I don't have ADD anymore.
And he said, you know, I've been noticing you, and I wonder if you have it too.
What they decided is that both my husband and my son had a chemical imbalance that needed to be corrected with a chemical balancer.
Is that a chemical imbalance?
For 20 million Americans.
Problem, they've got a drug.
6 million American kids take prescribed medication.
When they placed me on Zoloft.
They gave me Adderall.
I was prescribed Symptom, Debaco,
Stelazine,
Adderall,
Concerta,
Tegretol,
Lexapro,
OCD,
oppositional defiant disorder.
Schools criticized for overprescribing.
Prozac,
Lorazepam,
Effexor, psychiatric care.
The punishment, a form of aversion therapy.
Turning appears on the show, but I want to
Seasonal Clonazepam,
Ritalin,
dexamphetamine,
Paxil, Silert,
Prozac,
Adderall, Elavil.
He wants to ask you something, Tanya. Can you just answer this? Hold on.
Sure. Well, first, Tanya, I don't want to discourage you from taking the medication, but how quickly,
well.
Tanya, how quickly after you stop the medication do you start to feel not like yourself?
About 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. That's a withdrawal reaction, Tanya. That you do need to know. That's a scientific fact. Prozac, 3 days is your typical period. The problem that people run into is that over the years they'll start to lose some of their feelings, they'll get more apathetic as the drug wears the neurotransmitters out, in effect. And then they try to come off and they get terrible reactions when they try to withdraw.
Do you not believe, Dr. Breggin, that people have depression that needs to be treated with medication? Do people not have chemical imbalances?
Well, first, people do get depressed. I mean, depression's a part of normal life in many ways. When we have losses, we grieve. So it's really a human continuum. And some people get terribly depressed. But by doing something to your brain, you're never going to improve your brain with a psychoactive substance, whether it's alcohol or Prozac or Xanax. You're not going to make your brain work better. The brain's much too complicated for that. We can't even measure the activities in the human brain. But we do know from animal research that the drugs cause biochemical imbalances. So it's literally true that the only known biochemical imbalances in the brains of people who are depressed or anxious are the ones caused by the drugs.
All right, Gary and Sebring, your turn.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Sure. I believe the gentleman's correct. My dad passed away. I was feeling depressed. My family doctor gave me Prozac. I started seeing things and becoming very, very violent at work. I was only on them 10 days. I flushed them and got off them.
And do you feel less that way now that you're off the medication?
Oh, I've been off 12 years and feel fine.
Wow. Very, very, very glad for you. I appreciate that comment. All right. Beverly in Plant City, your turn.
My son was put on Paxil and Cymbalta, Lamictal, Wellbutrin, and in November he had acute kidney failure, so they took him off of all medications. And then when they did put him back on medications, they put him on Paxil alone, and he started opening the car door.
Opening the car door?
To jump out?
Well, yeah, while it was going.
Jump out, yeah.
but just want people to know that they will do this.
That does happen. People get disinhibited, it's called. They lose control over themselves and do bizarre and dangerous things. Paxil, probably the worst offender of all. Many of the cases in medication madness are about Paxil. But really, every category of drug can have a similar effect.
Okay, now, I quickly want to get to kids, all these kids taking Ritalin, taking all these drugs for ADD and ADHD. Should they not be taking these drugs?
I don't think we should drug our children. Adults take medications if you're informed, but the growing brain should not be bathed in toxic substances. Ritalin stunts, all the stimulants stunt growth, cause obsessive behaviors, suppress the spontaneity of the child. Many of these children get very depressed on these drugs.
But if some parents say, if my child wasn't on Ritalin, he wouldn't be studying, he wouldn't be focusing, he wouldn't be doing well in school, he would be failing.
Scientifically, there's no evidence that these drugs help with academic performance. I mean, think about it. Disrupting the brain with the same drugs that kids use on the street.
But anecdotally, don't the parents live with these children? Don't they see a change in behavior?
Well, there is a change. If you give these drugs to a chimpanzee, the same change takes place. The kids become less spontaneous, they become less social, they become less interactive, they are willing to do boring, very dull things, they even become obsessive about doing things. It's a harm to the brain that makes the child look better.
You're watching Your Turn. If it matters to you, it's important to us.
Paxil was the drug that gave me insomnia. I would cry very easily on it.
It didn't help me study, it didn't help me do anything. I didn't even want to do work because I was so sick.
I'd say probably like 10 times worse for me, maybe even 20.
Only now I was further impaired by the medications.
And I realized that those drugs were just destroying me. Even when I was on them, I realized that they were destroying me.
Everything became worse. You know, each mood swing was worse.
He would have chronic headaches, chronic, nausea, not feeling good.
She was very agitated, very, very jumpy.
She was having horrible hallucinations. Her personality was disintegrating.
Once he started on that drug, the cloud just stayed over him and stayed over him and stayed over him. It got darker and darker.
Bryant was being kept dumb and high on Ritalin so that they could make $2,500 per month.
He gave me Valium, and I got addicted to it.
It wiped out my life.
My life has been ruined.
Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Ritalin, all these drugs that millions of Americans are taking, causing problems.
There are many people in your listening audience today who can't get off of Paxil and Prozac and the other drugs. The drug companies hid this for a long, long time. You're putting junk into the brain. You're putting toxic substances into the brain with the hope you'll have a good outcome. You're actually creating biochemical imbalances. The problem that people run into is that over the years they'll start to lose some of their feelings. They'll get more apathetic as the drug wears the neurotransmitters out, in effect.
You're telling me that people who say, I feel better taking these drugs, I feel less depressed, I feel less anxious, that they're not really feeling better?
Well, the drugs can cause an emotional anesthesia. But basically, if you just look at it clinically, the drugs agitate people, they make them irritable and anxious, give them insomnia, and overflowing with feelings that they can't bear.